Come now to chapter 6 of the book of Daniel. Chapter 5, we saw the writing on the wall. We saw the last king of the Babylonian Empire. We saw the transition to of the empire to the Medes and the Persians. So right now the Medes started off in charge. Chapter 6, we're going to read about the new king. So verses 1 through 3, it pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom, and over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first, that the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king thought to set him over the whole realm. So Daniel is again in good favor with the new king. So just like he sat at the king's court with Nebuchadnezzar, now with the new kingdom of the Medes, Daniel again is right up in there. He's in charge of everybody except for the king. So verses 4 through 9. Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could find none occasion nor fault, for as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. Then said these men, We shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God. Then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king, and said thus unto him, King Darius, live forever. All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors, and the captains have counseled together to establish a royal statute, and to make a firm decree. Whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save of thee, O king, he shall be cast into a den of lions. Now, king, establish the decree and sign the writing, that it be not changed according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which altereth not. Wherefore, King Darius signed the writing and the decree. So we've got a new kingdom, new rulers, and Darius is in charge of setting up those rulers. And they're all jealous of Daniel. They want to be in his position. He's the lead guy. By now, he's an old man. So when he was with Nebuchadnezzar, he was a teenager. Now it's 7 years later. So he's in his late 80s, probably. And Daniel has been walking with God a long time. And he's obedient to this king. But he won't go against what God has to say. And that's how we're all supposed to be. When Jesus came, he didn't take over the Roman Empire, even though it was an evil empire. And these Medes and the Persians, they're not necessarily going to be a good empire either. And they will meet their doom at the hands of the Greeks. But right now, they're in charge. There's a lot of different ruling classes. So just like in heaven, there's different authorities and powers, different strengths of angels. We don't often think about that, but they're set up just like the kingdoms of man. So the kingdoms of man actually are given to show what's going on in heaven. Now there's a decree that's signed about we can only worship the king for 30 days. And they did this because they knew that Daniel worshiped every day, and he did it overtly in front of the whole kingdom. And but the difference between the Medes, the laws of the Medes, is once the thing was signed, it couldn't be changed. So the king couldn't change his mind like King Nebuchadnezzar, and so that's why his kingdom was inferior to the head of gold or Babylon, because he couldn't just do and say what he wanted to do. So we'll read verses 10 through 13. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day, and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as he did beforetime. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, save of thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, The thing is true, according to the law of Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Then answered they and said before the king, That Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regards not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but makes his petition 3 times a day. Daniel is just a prayer warrior, and that's shown again and again. So why was Daniel great? Because he had that relationship with God. So 3 times a day he's meeting with God, and now he's no doubt meeting because he knows about this petition. He's saying, help me. He knows that something bad is going to come, but God is there. He knows God's going to be there for him. This isn't an urgent request with somebody he doesn't know. He has this relationship, like I said, with God that he's had all his life. So verses 14 through 17. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. Then these men assembled unto the king, and said unto the king, Know, O king, that the law of the Medes and the Persians is, that no decree nor statute which the king establishes may be changed. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, Thy God, whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee. And a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den. The king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. So the king knew that he'd been had now. So he's got some established a new place, he's established a new ruling class, and he's puffed up. And so he goes along with these people that say, we can only worship you for 30 days. And then he realizes what he did when these people come and say, hey, Daniel's not just worshiping you, he's worshiping his God, which Darius was fine with. Darius had a good relationship with Daniel. He knew that Daniel worshiped his God. I'm not sure what kind of relationship Darius had with God, but he was good with Daniel, and he knew that Daniel was a good man because of what he did. So now we see Daniel in the lion's den. It's interesting that a stone's brought and laid over the mouth of the den. So there was a stone brought and laid over Jesus too when he was put to death and was buried. So I don't know what to make of all that, but there are parallels in this, and like I said, what happens later on, things that aren't overt. So 18 through 23. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste unto the den of lions. And when he came unto the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said unto Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God, whom thou servest continually, able to deliver thee from the lions? Then Daniel said unto the king, O king, live forever. My God has sent his angel, has shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me. Forasmuch as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. Then was the king exceedingly glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. So when the king made this decree, he wasn't able to change it. Again, in the book of Esther, the king makes a decree to kill all the Jews, and he wasn't able to change it. But he overcame it by making a new decree that the Jews could defend themselves and to watch out for the Jews. So the Jews killed all the people that were going to come after them. So in that instance, they were able to find a way out. And King Ahasuerus in those days was able to, in the days of Esther, was able to make a way around that. But this law was still in place at that time. But this king, he was up all night trying to find a way to overcome it, but he just couldn't. And so he goes in the morning and with a lamentable voice, he's sorry for what he did. He doesn't know if God kept him out, just like the three Hebrews went in the fire. Well, Daniel, in the same way, is now tested in the lion's den. Was God able to save you? Well, God is always able to save you, whether he will or not. That's up to him. God did save Daniel, and so the king, he's just thrilled by it. And verse 24, and the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions, them, their children, and their wives. And the lions had the mastery of them, and break all their bones in pieces ever they came at the bottom of the den. So before they even hit the bottom, all these guys, again, these were all the other rulers. They were all jealous of Daniel and wanted to take his place. So the king, he's got Daniel, and he says, I don't really need all these other rulers. I'm just going to have them all killed. Verse 25 through 27, and King Darius wrote unto all the people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel, for he is the living God, and steadfast forever, and his kingdom that which will not be destroyed, and his dominion shall be even unto the end. He delivers and rescues, and he works signs and wonders in heaven and in earth, who has delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. So again, Darius the king acknowledges God, just like Nebuchadnezzar did at the beginning of chapter 4 when he talks about how great God is, but whether he's fully committed to God like Nebuchadnezzar seemed to be at the end or not is up in the air. So verse 28. So this Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian. So this is a divided kingdom, and Daniel, he still got authority. So at the end of the Babylonians, he wasn't given counsel, and that's when the Babylonians fell. Now at the start of the reigns of the Medes and the Persians, Daniel's got a prominent space. And so the Medes and the Persians are prospering, and no doubt because Daniel is the key advisor. That ends the chapter 6 and chapter 7 and through chapter 12, through the end of Daniel. We're going to see that these are all dreams and visions of Daniel, and we're going to be given the interpretations of those. So what has happened as a history is over now. Well, it's not over. We're going to get more things like that, but the straight line thing is over. We're going to go back in time a little bit in the next chapter.